so how's the feds gonna get hold of them?
That was my comment. I'd like to see how long it takes for them to respond to the letter from the Department of Treasury.
Oh, wow.
That will be very interesting. And then someone chuckled, because evidently PayPal is one way they can return the money. I don't imagine they even know how to operate PayPal. All right.
All right, let's call this meeting, Warsaw Redevelopment to order. Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance, as we always do.
I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Whitney, we'll make a mental note that everyone is here today, which is nice. And the first thing we have is the approval of the minutes of the meeting on September the 8th. Assumed you've had a chance to look those over.
I'd make a motion to approve.
Okay, Bill's made a motion. Jack has seconded it. Thank you. I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the minutes? Signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. And now into new business.
So the first thing you have on the agenda is a resolution 2025-1001, which is authorizing the disposition of the two properties that was created as part of the Marsh plat, or the Buffalo Street plat. That includes the Outlot 1 and then the lot that the Marsh Superstore sits on. This resolution just authorized the final disposition, which allows us to dispose of it after October 8th. So we did our meeting on September 8th, did the advertisement, and then we had to wait a certain amount of time. And that amount of time will expire on October 8th, after which we can close on either of the properties.
So I just had a chance to look at this in a little bit more detail. Basically, you're splitting this up into the two lots, and we are approving the city, authorizing the city to dispose of both of those lots.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'd make a motion to approve that.
Okay, Joe has made a motion to approve the resolution that we've been talking about for a while.
I'd second it.
Jack has seconded the motion. So we have a first and a second. I'll call for a vote. All in favor of approving the resolution, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Okay, it's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Next, the purchase agreement, right?
Yeah, so you have the first purchase agreement, which is for the Outlot. That will be purchased by the developer Ewert Developments LLC. This will be the Scooter Coffee Outlot. The purchase price is for $225,000. The hope is that we would close before the next meeting, so sometime after October 8th, we'll be allowed to close on this property. We'll work with them. What I'm asking you to do today is to basically approve the purchase agreement in its form. There's some dates and things that will be added once we settle on the closing date. There's a few little language changes, nothing to do with the money. It'll just be associated with some of the timing of the closing. And I think there's some definitions that we'll work with them to finalize. But if you approve the purchase agreement, I'll work with our attorneys and their attorneys to finalize them, have George sign it, and then we'll set a closing date on these purchase agreements.
Jeremy, this may be a little bit into the weeds, but whoever the purchaser of that outlot, it's basically their responsibility to hook up to the utilities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
that's
all we're doing is selling the lot as is with the description that, those are just some of the things that I've got to finalize. This doesn't have all the attachments yet, so we'll attach the legal descriptions, we'll attach the, there's another, the actual deed needs to be finished by us, so we'll attach that deed to the purchase agreement. But all we are selling is the land. We've created the easements that'll be attached to this document and the legal description of the outlot. And after that's finalized, we'll sign, I'll have George sign and they'll sign, and then we can close. Hopefully before our next meeting, we'll have closed on this lot.
So the easements have all been discussed and
Agreed upon, yeah.
There you go, good.
Yep.
And then where do the proceeds go?
This will go back.
We have a bond on this, don't we?
No, we do not. So we paid for it in cash, and it will go back in the funds that it came out of.
Okay,
In this case, they'll go back to the Tech Park funds.
okay,
So the 225 will go directly back into the Tech Park fund.
okay.
They're probably well aware of where the utilities lie there, and they've done their due diligence, I would think, to know.
Yes, they have.
Where the
The utilities do front the property. How they connect to them will be up to them, but there are utilities that front the property for them to connect to. They have a layout of their building. It's been submitted for building permits. I think they're still waiting on their state release. So there's some things they have to do yet from the development side, but they've been working on those throughout this time period.
So the cut off of the state highway and the Prairie Street
Yep,
will remain as they are.
will remain as they are.
Yeah.
There will be no additional cuts.
Okay. Well, I would make a motion to approve this, I guess, as a draft document that will be finalized. It will not need to come back to us if we do it that way.
No, so basically what you're doing is you're approving the form of the purchase agreement. We will finalize the dates and the details. The money will not change, the cost, price will not change. So all we're finalizing is the dates. And I think there's a few, some of the attachments need to be attached to it. The deed needs to be finalized from our end. Our attorneys need to finalize the deed. All that will be done. George will sign it, and then we'll send it to the title company and get it closed. And make sure all the names and everything are right on here. I think I changed some of them, but on the next one, you'll see the title company. I think that person is no longer with that title company, so I'll have to change that name as well. But the financial side of either of them will not change.
All right, so moved.
Okay, so we have first.
Second.
Okay, Bill has seconded, Joe's made a motion, and Bill has seconded that. I'll call for a vote then. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Okay. Those against, signify by saying nay. Okay, it's unanimous on the purchase agreement for the lot for 500 South Buffalo. Thank you. And then the larger parcel.
Yes, you have a purchase agreement between us and the 500 Buffalo LLC. This purchase agreement is for $1 million over 84 months. They will make monthly payments. There's a $70,000 down payment, closing payment, that will come off that $1 million, which means that for the next 84 months, we'll finance the remaining $930,000. Much like the previous one, most of this is completed. There's some dates that need to be filled in as we sign and get closer to the closing. But the dollar amount and the purchase price agreement will not change. So we're just approving the form of the purchase agreement. Once we've finalized all the attachments and filled in the dates, I'll have George sign and then we'll submit for closing.
So legal will make their changes and corrections, but basic.
Most of it's just dates. I didn't fill out any of the dates on here, so we're just approving the agreement. And once we've finalized with the title company, we'll fill in those dates.
So again, looking at the as-is condition clause, you suggest that except for any express representation in section 6.1, it didn't appear there was anything in there that would be material, if you will.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming that that's tight.
Yep. If you look at so this is the purchase agreement, and then attached is the mortgage, which has a lot of the other details in it. The mortgage amount is the $930,000, the 84 months of payments, and has insurance requirements in there as well. It has if they were to default on the monthly payment. So all of that's covered in that mortgage agreement with 500 Buffalo LLC.
So the default is considered in this agreement.
Yes. Yeah, so it's considered, they have a penalty for late payments, and then there is interest that would be charged on any default in final payment.
And then in the event, I think I remember this from our original discussion, in the event of a bankruptcy, and I don't like to be talking about that because I'm very pleased that we're at this point, but obviously the city will still have control of that building if there's a default and as a result of potentially a bankruptcy or the business fail.
Yes, all that's in here.
So in other words, if they walk away for any reason, the building reverts back to us, never left us, but we
Yeah.
don't sign off on anything until it's fully paid.
No, they're doing a deed that's transferring it to them, but then the mortgage would be we'd have to foreclose on them technically.
Yeah.
Okay,
Of course, all that would
So it goes.
probably happen after they put a lot of money in the property and because
Yeah.
they're gonna start almost immediately, I would assume, getting stuff done. I would suggest too that they don't, you get the utilities switched over before closing, because it gets problematic when they want to come in and look at So, since they're buying a property as is, there's some protection there because we know the building's gonna need
Some more.
work and repairs, and they're poised to do that from what they say.
Just one quick question on the future advances.
Mhm.
It says something about the face amount, including any future obligation advances, but there aren't any advances at this point, is there? Because it says something about $2 million.
Yeah, I saw that too.
It's on 5.11 on the, I think it's the mortgage, maybe? I think it's the mortgage. I was just curious because the way it's worded, I was thinking there might be there's not a chance, we're not doing any more advancements, are we?
No, we're not. I think it has to do with insurance and liability coverage.
Because it says the face amount of the note, including any future obligations and advances made from time to time after the date hereof pursuant to the note and other loan instruments. It's page 66 of 116.
Page 66.
I'm in the packet, package.
Okay, so
You said it was 5.1?
5.11. It says future advancements, it's highlighted. It says notwithstanding anything contained in this mortgage or other loan instruments to the contrary, this mortgage shall secure the face amount of the note, including any future obligation and advances made from time to time after the date hereof pursuant to the note and other loan instruments up to a maximum amount of $2 million, whether made as a part of the obligation secured or made option of the mortgagee. I was just wanting to make sure it wasn't if we're doing other advances on this, or, I just curious, that's all.
I can ask him about that if you want clarification, Bill. I'm not following that either. I mean, it seems like it's tied to some kind of insurance.
Well, I thought that too, but the up and above, it actually had, I think it had more for insurance coverage too.
Yeah.
They had to show they had insurance coverages for different things.
If you want clarification on that prior, I can have him clarify that.
That's what, I mean, we aren't advancing any
No, we're not.
funds. I guess that's ultimately my question, because
Yeah.
that leads to me to believe we might, or would have that option.
I guess we could have that
Maybe say
option,
they
but
would.
we don't intend to
But that'd be
advance
something
it.
that'd have to come back to the,
It would have to, yeah, any additional funds in any project would have to come back to the Redevelopment Commission. And we don't have any intentions of putting any additional funds into this.
okay.
And they're required to maintain insurance
Yes.
on that. If there's a fire or a tornado or something and the
Yep.
building is,
Yeah, all that's
Wrecked
covered.
insurance.
All that's covered in the mortgage.
okay.
And liability insurance
A lot
too.
of years.
And the disposition of those funds as it relates to any insurance claim is also in there.
Yes.
170,000, just only
I
70.
noticed that too. Jeremy,
Mhm.
yeah, we noticed that. And when you said 70,000 on
On sheet 26, 2.1 closing payment, it verbally says 170,000 and $0, but then in brackets it has 70,000.
70,000.
Yeah, because I changed that. I must have not changed that, so it needs to be changed. I'll correct that. But yeah, that needs to be changed too. It's 70,000. It's not 170,000. So the dollar amount that's shown is correct, not the written amount. It might be the same on the mortgage. I might have to go back and change that one too.
The mortgage just has the amount that's left owed.
Just has a left, okay. It wasn't
The mortgage
referenced
just
in there.
has the amount that's left owed,
Yeah.
Okay.
the 930.
So it'll be Barnes and Thornburg reviewing all this, right?
Yes.
So I would assume they would scour that and be asking you questions and all that, so.
Yeah, they.
All these are good points, and if you see anything, even after the fact, they'll
Yeah.
be changing the final.
Most of it won't, like I said, there's a few dates and things that need to be added in here, a few attachments that need to be
Yeah,
finalized.
Correction.
And then that correction will correct that, and then setting the closing date and so forth. Like I said, the mortgage will be started when we have a closing date, and that date will be set. So as we get closer to setting the closing date, that's when we'll know when some of those dates will be filled in on those agreements.
Any other questions or comments before we? Pass this on to legal to draw up the official purchase agreement, I should say, but we are approved.
So since we found several things, will this have to come back to us? We just want to approve the date of the sale? Is that what we want to do? And have the document come back, or how?
Well, that's entirely up to you, but I don't see, I mean, the typo, the 70,000, I'll fix that. I need to update the contact on the title company, because I don't think he's employed there any longer. And the rest is just dates and filling in the exhibits. The dates I won't know until we set a closing date. But if you still have questions for them on the actual mortgage, then I would have to come.
I don't think it's worth getting into the weeds on these remedies of foreclosure and that kind of thing. This is what we're paying them for, to come up with a document to sell, provide a means for us to carry the note for a while and retain control. And that was the original reason for doing it this way, and I assume that that's been addressed in here. I can't go in and pick that apart. But there are obviously typos that need to be
Yeah.
corrected, and I don't have a problem with that.
My suggestion is to approve the form of the agreement. We'll make those changes, and we'll get the dates filled in. George will sign it when we're ready, when we have a closing date and all those dates are filled in. He'll sign it, they'll sign it, and then we'll send it to be closed on. In order to close, I have to have the purchase agreement so we can send to the title company, so they can set a closing date. So that's kind of step one, is approving the purchase agreement so that they know what we're closing on and what the property is and what the value is and what the payments are, what the closing costs are, all that fun stuff.
I'll make a motion to approve the draft.
Okay, so Bill has made a motion to approve this draft of the purchase agreement, which is going in front of our legal counselors. Do I have a second?
I'd second.
Okay, Joe has seconded that. I will call for a vote. All in favor of approving of that signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those against, say nay. Okay, it didn't pass.
Alright.
And I would think if you had any questions.
Yeah, if you have any
specific
questions, you can send them to
Call
me. I can-
Jeremy. We'll send it to them. They'll redo it. And if you had a question on a certain item, don't, if you want to read the draft, or, read the final before I have no problem with that. Just, but, okay.
No, I'm good with proceeding like that. And Jeremy, thank you for all the work you've done on this. I know this has taken a while. I was obviously involved in making the decision several years ago to purchase property to try and control its destiny, if you will. I know this commission employed a search firm to try and find a grocery store, to find suitable retail. It's been a long haul, and I'm very satisfied with those coming in wanting to develop it, as well, the coffee shop as well as the main building. It's a start on that property. We all know how difficult retail has been, and the fact that there's folks willing to step forward and that this redevelopment commission is willing to work with them, it's fantastic. I noticed that the property taxes will resume on this property. That's another, and we're basically getting back what we paid for the property at the end of the day. And I feel good that we're where we are, Would it have been great to have a big Safeway grocery store in there? Sure it would, but it's just retail doesn't seem to work like that anymore. So, again, I'm thankful that we've got folks that are willing to step forward and invest, and I think at the end of the day, it was a good decision. So
I
thank
agree,
you.
Joe. I mean, we really tried. We really tried, and it's better than having an empty building.
And I like the idea of what's going in there. I think it'll be.
Well, I feel
it's
like-
viable.
A small commercial venture on the corner, a small coffee shop could stimulate more ILOP development. We talked about that from the beginning. And there's still opportunity to do that, provided the new developer has that same thought. But it would be nice if someone else had an idea for an outlaw development. It's a great spot.
Yeah, I think with scooters going there, once they start work on the property, I think it could generate some more interest for sure.
Yeah.
Sometimes redevelopment's not easy. Sometimes it takes time. Oftentimes it takes time.
It takes a lot longer than you'd like.
Yeah. So again, thank you for all your work.
Yep.
Yeah.
Whitney, I'm sure you had a little to do with it too.
Many a phone call.
Yeah. All right, great.
All right, how about approval of claims?
We have a few. So the first three are associated with Marsh Utilities, NIPSCO 202.89, Indiana American Water 234.78, Indiana American Water 164.95. The UPS store 4653 were for closing documents associated with the Millworks project. Warsaw Community Development Inc. is a Main Street payment or a contract with Main Street for downtown services in the amount of $10,642.85. KDI as Kedco, Peak Med, our office lease with Peak Med for $300. Times Union 6281, notice for the annexation on Husky Trail. Barnes and Thornburg 4,220.23 legal services for Marsh and AutoCam. 4 Aces Lawn Care $300 for mowing on Buffalo Street property. $120 for my cell phone allowance. Kosciuszko County Recorder's Office recording for the Tech Park allocation resolution. A&Z Engineering, 1,715 for ongoing engineering services for 200 North and Husky Trail. Office supplies, $40.19. Prince Land Surveying, $100 for the easement description for Marsh. DLZ, 2,556 for the airport park engineering. And West Hill Development, 42,000 for the lease payment for the Shell Building number 3.
Any questions about the claims?
Make a motion to approve.
Okay, Bill's made a motion to approve the claims as presented. And Jack has seconded that. So all in favor of approving the claims signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right. Okay, it's unanimous. How about other business?
Well, I don't think I have anything on the agenda. Obviously, did the Millworks groundbreaking a couple weeks ago. That project's off and running. They're finalizing the closing, or we're gonna be finalizing the closing on the bond. Hopefully we'll, get that started this week. So there's some closing documents that our attorneys need to finalize and get out to them so that we can close on that bond. And he'll be closing on his financing in the next couple of weeks, and more work will occur on the Millwork site here shortly, so.
And they'll eventually disclose what they have in mind for the commercial space, yeah.
Yeah, they will, eventually work that out. We have been in conversations with them and the potential, user, and we'll continue. They're working on some design on the interior of it, and then we will get with, John and his development team and the potential proprietor there and figure out what that agreement looks like. There'll be another agreement with them that will come before you guys at some point in time.
It's honestly great. But, so, we put a lot of time and effort in that.
Yep.
Next, are we gonna have a next meeting on the 20th?
Most likely, yes. I'm sure we'll have, so at the same time, I think we're gonna be, or I don't think, I know, we are looking at buying the parking lot, Polk parking lot. I've got an agreement in principle with them, but I have to go through the process, so that will be starting, hopefully at our next October meeting, we'll be starting that process to acquire that property.
And that's the one across from the jail museum.
Yes. I think initially we'll use it for temporary parking, as we've got a lot of things going on. And we'll open it up for downtown businesses to use for employee parking, because I know we've had some issues with that. Once the parking garage is constructed, then we'll start kicking around ideas to develop that property. So ideally, we might have another residential project or something in the future on that site, but it will be a good spot as we build the parking lot, garage, to have additional parking during that time frame.
That's a good point. Did you have a question, Joe?
No, I won't be at the next meeting. I know I've got Conflict Ames annual meeting starts that evening.
October 20th?
Yes.
I'll be here for that one, but I will miss that one and first one in November.
The intent is to close on that parking lot before the end of the year, so that's what I'm trying to get done. I want to use this year's money to acquire it. Anchorage Road gets let this week, I think on Thursday. So once that gets let and we know what that cost is, we'll have our 20% match for that project, and hopefully that'll allow us to do some of these other things, get these other things rolling. Been waiting kind of to see what that cost is gonna come in at, and hopefully NDOT will cover their 80% of that, because I'm sure it's gonna come in way higher than what it was estimated at 6 years ago. So that's always the challenge with these projects. But
Yes. Mayor Jeff, do you have any comments, sir?
No, I do not.
Thanks. Thank you. All right, well, if I don't hear any other comments, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn so I can go get my phone.
Motion to adjourn. Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Jack seconded. This meeting is adjourned.
Hereby adjourned.
Don't vote on that, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna let him hang for a while.